Were you born in the 1990s? Are you a tennis fan? If you are a tennis fan and you were born in the 1990s, I have a tennis trivia question for you. Can you tell me how many men's singles tennis players have won majors in the men's singles category and they were born in the 1990s? What do I mean by majors? Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, US Open. I am only talking about the men's singles event, and amongst all the winners of the men's singles event at Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and US Open, how many men's singles winners were born in the 1990s? Let me give you a hint. To my side, you'll be able to see the ATP rankings as of 2nd June 2025. Of the top 50 men's singles tennis players, more than half were born in the 1990s. Just the age between 26 and 35, if my mathematics is correct. You can pause the video and count yourself. So, more than half of the top 50 men's singles tennis players were born in the 1990s. Assuming that tennis players need to be at least 20 to become a force to be reckoned with on the tour, one can assume that around 2010 to 2015, players born in the 1990s would have become forces to be reckoned with. So that's also a period of 10 years from 2015 to 2025. Let's assume 2020 onwards. Maybe then that should have been the period from 2020 to 2025. That should have been the period when tennis players born in the 1990s would have really dominated, would have been the people winning the championships. Doesn't that make sense? Also, as I record this video, French Open is being played in Paris. In the men's singles draw, 12 players are still active. Of these 12, 7 were born in the 1990s, from 1990 to 1999. Do you think one of these 7 could win the French Open? Surely they can. My money is on Alexander Zverev among the players born in the 1990s. But the favorites are not players born in the 1990s. The favorites were born after the 1990s or before the 1990s. Novak Djokovic, born in 1987, at the age of 38, is still regarded as one of the people who might very well win the French Open. But of course, the tag of favorite has to go to Carlos Alcaraz, born in 2003, and Yannick Sinner, born in 2001. So, what happened to the people born in the 1990s? Let's revisit the original question. How many men's singles titles were won in the majors by tennis players born in the 1990s? Like I said, more than half of the top 50 ATP ranked tennis players in the men's singles category are born in the 1990s. Did that success in rankings translate into success in winning the men's singles title at the majors? No. Only 2 players, Dominic Thiem in 2020 US Open and Daniil Medvedev in 2021 US Open, managed to win men's singles titles at the majors so far. Of course, in the 2025 French Open, 7 players are still active. One of them can win the title at the French Open, but that would only increase it from 2 to 3. Why did this happen? And is this normal? Let's find out in today's video. First question, why did this happen? The usual suspects are, of course, Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, and Rafael Nadal. All 3 were born in the 1980s, and all 3 dominated men's singles tennis. Roger Federer won 20 majors, Rafael Nadal won 22 majors, and Novak Djokovic has won 24 majors and is still competing. The other 2 have retired. That kind of dominance has never been seen in the sport of tennis. These 3 had a stranglehold on the majors. Yes, you had the occasional Stanislas Wawrinka victory. He did win 3 majors. Andy Murray won 3 majors. Marin Cilic won a major at the US Open, and Martin Del Potro also won a major at the US Open by defeating Roger Federer in the memorable US Open final of 2009. In the 21st century, the men's singles title at the majors has been won either by people born before the 1990s or by people born in the 21st century, like Yannick Sinner and Carlos Alcaraz. As I said, only two people born in the 1990s managed to win the men's singles title at the majors, Daniil Medvedev and Dominic Thiem. Daniil Medvedev has been eliminated from the French Open in 2025 and Dominic Thiem has retired from professional tennis. Is it just because of Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic and their incredible level of play? As I said, two of these three have retired. Why are they still struggling? Why are they not able to defeat younger players like Sinner and Alcaraz? And is this normal? So let's have a look back at the history of tennis and the rise of dominant tennis players and how long were they dominant and what impact did they have on the people born in the decade after their date of birth. So let's start with the Australian duo of Roy Emerson and Rod Laver. Roy Emerson won 12 majors. He was born in 1936. Rod Laver won 11 majors. He was born in 1938. But their period of dominance in tennis cannot really be compared with the modern era because many of their majors were won before the Open era. So let's restrict ourselves only to the Open era, which started in 1968 with the French Open. So let's start with the first dominant player in the Open era, Bjorn Borg. He was born in 1956. But just to remind the viewers, he was born 20 years after Roy Emerson and 18 years after Rod Laver. Bjorn Borg also won 11 majors. He was born in 1956. And the next dominant tennis player in the Open era, I would say, is Pete Sampras, who was born in 1971, 15 years after Bjorn Borg. The dominant player to emerge in the post-Sampras era first was Roger Federer, born in 1981. Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal were also born in the 1980s. So one can see a trend that the emergence of a really dominant tennis player takes about 10 to 15 years. So one can say that maybe the lack of victories for the people born in the 1990s in the men's singles category is to be expected. It is not abnormal. What is abnormal is the number. 2 is just too low. Yes, Borg was the dominant player born in the 50s. You had other dominant players born in the 50s like Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe. But tennis players born in the 60s were also winning majors. You had Ivan Lendl born in the 1960s winning 8 majors. You had Mats Wilander born in the 1960s winning 7 majors. Of course, Sampras won 14 majors born in 1971 and Federer, Nadal and Djokovic born in the 1980s won 20 or more majors each. So what happened in the 1990s? What happened to those tennis players? What is interesting to note is while the gap between Borg and Sampras is 15 years, the gap between Sampras and Federer is only 10 years. The gap between Federer and Nadal is much shorter. It's about 4 years or 5 years from Djokovic. Not only did these three players, Federer, Nadal and Djokovic, reduce the gap from 15 years between Borg and Sampras to 10 years between Sampras and Federer, they also reduced the gap among themselves to 4 or 5 years. And all three tennis players dominated at the same time for a long period of time. Federer won his last major in 2018. He won his first major in 2003. That's a period of 15 years. They not only had a successful career, they also had a very long career, which is different from the success displayed by Bjorn Borg, success displayed by Pete Sampras, and certainly we cannot compare the period of tennis before the Open era with the modern day and age. So maybe the reason why the people born in the 1990s have not been able to win practically anything beyond 2 majors at the US Open in 2020 and 2021 is because of the big three dominance of tennis and the longevity of their tennis careers. But I am still hopeful that in the future, people born in the 1990s, the likes of Alexander Zverev, the likes of Francis Tiafoe, the likes of Daniil Medvedev, would be able to rack up more majors in the men's singles category, and I will be rooting for them because I too am born in the 1990s. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this, please hit the like button, share and subscribe to motivate me to make more tennis related content. And let me know in the comment section who you think will win the French Open men's singles title and why do you think it will be Carlos Alcaraz. See you in the next one.